Hello to all of you wonderful moms out there. This is episode 45 of the Solve for Mom podcast, the show that helps you create work-life balance through purposeful planning. I'm your host, Anoki Kapasi, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today. Are you feeling that you're constantly running around trying to get a gold medal in managing all that chaos around you? Are you struggling to find quality time with your family and juggling your career and personal life? This is a balancing act that I routinely coach clients around. I know what it's like to feel guilty when saying no to your children, to struggle with managing interruptions while trying to work from home, and dealing with the challenges of trying to maintain meaningful connections. As a working mom, the quest for work-life balance can feel like an impossible juggling act, but I promise you it is doable. That's why today I'm sharing a scientific theory behind family connection on an individual's well-being as well as practical strategies for creating meaningful family time while maintaining your sense of self. We're going to explore simple solutions for quality family time that fit into your busy schedule. Whether you're looking to establish consistent family traditions or create intentional routines that prioritize connections, this episode has you covered. If you're ready to transform your family time from chaotic to meaningful, grab your notebook and let's dive in. Are you looking for a way to blend success and motherhood without losing sight of who you are? I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Anoki, a PhD researcher, business owner, and homeschooling mom of 2 boys. As your life coach, I help moms like you create a life you love at home and at work. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed, overscheduled, and overlooked, and you want a clear roadmap to a balanced life, a meaningful career, and finally feeling like yourself again while still being the amazing mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this complex equation we call life, it's time to sharpen our pencils and our minds and solve for mom. Being a working mom is so tough sometimes because it feels like we're running around and trying to do everything for everyone because we don't want to say no. We're trying to be everywhere for our families and for our jobs. And not only are we trying to manage our own schedules, we often end up having to manage everyone else's schedules as well. So being fully committed at work and at home with our families is not really straightforward, but it actually is doable and it is so important. If you want to be able to pursue your own ambitions, then you're probably going to have to find a way to find balance in your life. And so for most of us, no matter what our hopes and dreams may be, we usually do list family time as a top priority. So being a top priority then makes family time a really important part of that work-life balance equation that we're trying to constantly work on. In the social sciences, there's this idea called the stress process theory. It's basically a framework for understanding how families might have positive and negative effects on an individual's well-being. It's basically balancing the positive and negative contributions that a family has to an individual that's part of that family. So a family relationship can offer a lot of positive benefits to individuals, right? They combined can offer more resources so that an individual might be able to cope with stress better or promote healthy behaviors and overall just a sense of belonging, enhancing your self-esteem. All of these things can have an impact on your physical and mental well-being. But a family that is forming a poor relationship where the quality and the intensity of the caregiving is not very positive, where maybe the marital relationship is not strong or that there is constant stress amongst the family members and basically not a very harmonious setup, can all really kind of take a toll on an individual's well-being. I think this is pretty intuitive, right? Basically, stronger families can have positive impacts on an individual, and when you don't have that strong communication, you haven't spent the time to build high-quality connection in your family, then it's not really going to help an individual. In fact, it could have negative impacts. And as you might have even seen in your family, a family relationship can change over time. One, the amount of time you spend together, how close you feel, the activities that you do with each other will evolve as different people in the family are developing and how much time they spend at home or with the family. It can also change because the amount of stressors that we're exposed to, in the environment outside of the family unit will also change. So there are times where the family will really have to band together and support each other, maybe during a time of grief or maybe when there's some sort of catastrophe that's hit, or just in general, any kind of hardship that one member or the entire family might feel. So there's a natural change in the connectedness of the family that just kind of happens over time. So for example, if a family is experiencing some sort of financial hardship, maybe they have limited resources at their disposal and the financial outlook is not very clear or maybe not stable. Some people in the family are losing jobs perhaps, and maybe there isn't as many opportunities for outside social support. Well, if the family is able to communicate really well together and they're able to work together and they have a strong foundation already, then the family will be able to respond well and actually help each other to cope during this hard time. They'll actually lift each other up and they'll function really well together and probably come out of this hardship even stronger and even more connected. But a family that hasn't put in that time to build a strong foundation of connection, and they have a lot of struggles, whether it's with communicating or sharing resources and working with each other, then when they're faced with this type of hardship, instead of banding together, it might actually increase the amount of conflict. They won't be very harmonious. In fact, it might actually impact all of their mental health, cause more distress on the family, and may even disrupt the entire functioning of the family. So I think that was a really extreme example, and I really hope that no one is going through something like this right now. But I think overall, this concept is pretty intuitive. There are researchers out there in the social sciences that are actually trying to study this much more systematically and try to quantify some of these interacting factors. But for me, when I hear something like this, it's basically a reminder that all of this familial capital that we put in, we're investing in our family into that strong foundation and creating a high quality family because we want to not just be there to celebrate with each other in times of happiness and health and all of the really fun times. Of course, that's what I hope dominates our lives. But we also are investing in this foundation so that it is rock solid for us to handle and come out on the other side through difficult times. In fact, we may come out even stronger. That we are constantly trying to balance the positive and negative effects of all of these relationships that we have, that we want to tilt it towards having closeness and connection, and that all of these interactions we have with each other accumulate over time and contribute to this balance. And so for me, quality family time is a top priority. And I know that is the case for almost all of you as well. So it's with this in mind that I want to include family time as part of this work-life balance that we are constantly striving for. And so I'm going to share my go-to methods for prioritizing family time and for establishing high-quality connection time. So if you really want to prioritize family time, I would highly recommend using life planning. Now, I talk about this all the time, pretty much in every episode, but if you're new to my show, then I'll give you a quick rundown of what life planning is. Life planning is basically having a roadmap for where you want to go in life. So you will basically establish the big picture, like your vision, where you want to be 10 to 30 years from now. And you're going to start defining different components of that vision, such as your purpose and your passions and your priorities and your values. And these are the things that are going to be foundational to your life plan. All of your decisions for your time and your energy and your relationships and managing your resources are all going to align against this bigger picture that you have and your values. And then everything filters down. Your goals are going to be based on helping you get to your final vision. Your day-to-day decisions are going to be optimized to help you with your stepping stone goals. In order to really, in practical terms, prioritize family time, you actually have to have time to spend with your family. That means that you're going to have to create intentional routines and systems that prioritize meaningful family connections while hopefully maintaining your identity as a, let's say, working mom. And this is what life planning is going to help you with. So working moms often are struggling with balancing their career demands and their family time. And this can really lead to a lot of guilt and disconnection, and also make it really hard for them to make a decision one way or the other. When they're working, they're feeling guilty about not being with the family. When they're with the family, they're stressing about not being at work. And so in order to be able to be present at one or the other at any given time, you have to understand that it's okay for you to take the time away from something else, because you know that later on, somewhere down the road, you also have time marked out for this other thing that's important to you. Overall, quality time matters more than quantity time. And so it's really more about how present you are and how intentional you are with the time that you spend with your family. I talk about how planning can really be the key to time freedom for you as a mom. With proper planning, especially life planning, you're going to be able to free up your time, your energy, and your mental load, and maximize the resources that you can put into things like family time. I'm going to link that episode as well as another episode about having a minimalist mindset, which will really allow you to say yes to less things so that you don't find yourself overwhelmed and overbooking yourself schedule-wise. So when we talk about family time, I don't want you to make that one more thing that you feel like you have to do. If that's a priority, it's something that's in line with your values. It's part of who you are. It's what makes you who you are. And it's what you want to do. Well, that means that you're going to have to figure out in your life plan what other things that you want to do are as well. And then when you're optimizing your day, your routines and your systems and things, make sure that you're really optimizing for those priorities and non-negotiables. And you're not including in things that aren't serving you and aren't helping you kind of either improve your family time or get you to your bigger vision. You really don't want to be distracted by things that are just going to waste your time. So when you're trying to optimize your day, you want to make sure that you're scheduling in dedicated family activities like sharing a meal or weekend outings, or at least checking in with each other. For us, one of our treasured daily family interactions is during dinner. And my kids are probably tired of me saying this, but I'm always saying that dinner time is family time. And with very few exceptions, do we ever try to break that. When you're trying to schedule this high quality family time, you want to be really specific. You can use time blocking, and I have some very simple methods for time blocking, but in general, what you want to make sure is that you're being specific about which day, what time of the day, how long, and if you can, even at what frequency. Is this a daily family time activity, or is this weekly, or some other frequency? The next thing is one of my favorite things. It's building family traditions that really work for you. I have been on this journey for the last 2 years, I would say. I've been taking note of things that my family has really enjoyed, and I'm trying to make sure that those reappear at some regular interval. Basically, a tradition is where you establish some consistent ritual or routine that fits your family's schedule and values. And then you make the time to spend that with your family and just really make it count and plan activities that everyone's looking forward to doing and you know will be a source of joy for your family. Regular traditions really create stability and they strengthen family bonds. Even when you have just a limited time, some simple tradition can really have a huge impact. And that's why I say it's quality, not quantity. Family traditions give children security and even offer parents a lot of benefits, like offering some sort of framework for connection. And I talked a little bit about this in the episode about templates. I'll link that as well. But I have a template for creating family traditions. So what you want to do is you want to start with some simple daily traditions. Like I talked about dinner time being a daily connection time. Well, in a way, that's a daily family tradition. We also really enjoy bedtime tuck-ins. Sometimes at different phases of our family life, we've done bedtime stories together as well. You could have weekly family traditions. Like every Sunday morning, my family gets pancakes. My husband makes them, we all relish them, and we sit around and we really enjoy eating them, and it's just a point of gathering. Now, not all family traditions have to revolve around food. That just happens to be something that my family really enjoys. We also do things like family game nights, or we like finding different mini golf courses wherever we travel to. We also do silly things like geocaching. So it really is kind of fun to do locally and getting to know trails that are in your local area and parks and things. But also when we travel, it's really interesting. A lot of towns and cities have geocaches that you can go to explore their cities a little more. So we've kind of made that a little tradition that every time we travel, we just pick one geocache to do in this other new place that we're visiting. When you're trying to develop these family traditions, especially if your kids are a little older, you can ask them for ideas, have them get involved and decide what to do and where to go. When they're part of creating these family traditions, it's probably more likely to stick too. And of course, I also really love the traditions that are seasonal and basically occasions that come once a year, because you wait, by definition, a whole year before you experience that tradition again. The rarity and the novelty of a tradition like that can really build a lot of excitement in the days leading up to it. Now, the next one might make you cringe a little bit. It's blending work and family. I'm going to explain myself a little bit, but I understand why you might be hesitant about it, because we're constantly talking about putting boundaries around your work and kind of delineating family and fun and social time from work. So I totally get that, and I do support, in general, that type of approach, because when you let work bleed into the rest of your life, then it kind of feels like you're just working all day long. And that can often be a drain on your energy. That said, I have really found some creative ways to integrate my career and my family life without really sacrificing either. It's actually been a synergistic and almost source of positive connection for me and my family, especially with my kids. The traditional work-life balance model often creates a little more stress for us because, like I said, we feel like we have to choose between work or life. When we're doing one, we're putting these strict boundaries of keeping the rest of our life out of that particular activity that we're working on. But I do want you to consider that there is a time and place where when you do integrate work and life, it can allow a little more flexibility. It can actually help you take a load off, and you can do this in a way that feels both family connection and allows you to maintain your professional growth. I don't think that this is an all the time and everyday thing. But I'll give you examples from my own life to explain why I think that sometimes this is a good idea. Because we homeschool and because I work from home, often I am sharing my work with my kids in an appropriate way, but they are sometimes curious, asking me, "Hey, Mama, what are you doing?" Or they want to help me. They want to be a part of what I'm doing. Where it's suitable, I do let them help me. It's a huge source of joy for them and for me. And there was actually one time where my son was helping me with something, and I thought he was doing such a good job. I actually said, "Hey, do you mind working on this while I try to do this other thing?" And I was going to walk away for a bit. And he said, "Oh, Mom, the only reason I like doing this is because I get to do it with you." And so it was actually funny because he was the one that showed me that we were actually combining work and family and building a stronger connection because of it. Like at first I was just thinking, oh, what a cool creative way for me to delegate my work. But he was the one that showed me that we were actually building stronger connection because of it. There are many different ways that you can blend work and family. Your ways might be different from my ways because you may not be a homeschooling family or you may not be a work-at-home mom. But here are some ideas. Sometimes I work in the same space while my family is doing something else. So they're seeing me work, but we feel close just by being in close proximity with each other. We may not be doing the same activity, but there are still small little opportunities to interact with each other. Maybe we're listening to the same music at the same time, but doing different things. Another way to blend is by talking about what you're doing. I could be doing chores or I could be working on stuff for my business, and my kids might be curious and ask me about what I'm doing, and I will tell them, I will show them. And then my kids start to recognize what it is that I'm doing. And there have been several times where we'll be out and about and my kids will try to use some terminology that I might have taught them. Or they might say, "Hey, Mom, isn't this kind of like what you do at work?" And then another way to blend is to actually do the work together, to either teach or to actually be working on the same task together. And I gave you an example. And of course, this will differ based on what your specific job is, but there are always little bits of opportunities. Like I put out a newsletter twice a month. My third grader is a really great editor. And so I actually let him read a preview of my newsletter before it goes out because he will spot spelling errors, grammatical errors. He has a really strong sense of vocabulary and will often help me with some of the wording. He's also really excited about marketing, and he will give me ideas of how I might want to insert certain things to make it a little more exciting or capture attention. And he likes double checking my work, like clicking to make sure all the hyperlinks work. But I think once you start looking around, and if they have the interest, doing these things together can really boost their confidence and build a stronger bond between you guys. And if you want to see how good of a job my family does at blending work and family, then sign up for my newsletter. I have the link in the show notes, and I think you'll really enjoy it. The next one is actually very similar to what I just talked about, but it's actually about teaching life skills together. When I am working on daily activities, I try to see if there's an opportunity where I could turn it into quality family time. It's kind of a 2-in-1 because we're not just bonding together, but I'm also able to teach them something. So my kids are then gaining a valuable skill. When you're able to transform these necessary tasks that you have to do anyways into a bonding moment, then it actually prepares our children for independence, and it becomes an opportunity for us to invest in that foundation for a stronger family. This is super simple to do. When you're doing things like meal prep or organizing the home or any simple project or chore, you can actually make it a little fun and include your kids in on it. Usually I'm able to take most tasks and find some sort of age-appropriate, simpler version of it or step within the bigger task that I can have my kids help me with. And I know at times it almost feels like we might be taking advantage of them because we're just giving them more chores to do. But in reality, we're giving them the gift of these life skills, and we're helping them build their confidence. And I can tell you that there is a huge difference in them when they know that they're contributing to the family. But also, it just makes it so much more enjoyable for us to be able to do these tasks together. You don't always have to turn it into a game or into a fun activity. Just doing the task together alone is quality family time. Sometimes, especially with younger kids, it just is more fun for them when we can make it either competitive or add in a little challenge or do silly things or even dance or add music to add a little lighter element to the fact that we're doing something as mundane or boring as a chore. Now, the last thing is actually work focused. I want you to start being able to manage your mom guilt in a very productive way. So how does this help family time? I know it sounds a little weird. What I want you to do is to reframe any guilty feelings that you have when you're working into one that's positive, one where you're focusing on the fact that by working, you're role modeling for your kids so many things. You're showing what it is to be responsible, to have a good work ethic, to commit to something and follow through, to plan well. All of these things are things that your kids are learning by observing you. The problem is that if you've committed to work and that's what you've chosen as an important part of your life, then when you're actually working and part of your attention and energy is now focused on guilty feelings, it can not just impair your work, it's also going to diminish the quality of your family time. It actually spills over into your family time and your personal well-being even. What you really want to do is to have a healthy perspective so that everyone benefits. Focus on the value that you're bringing to your family, whether you're working or by being present with your family. And then create this realistic expectation around being able to celebrate all these points of connection with your children and your family. So that when you're working, you can mentally relax that you have strong connection time with your family, and it's okay if you dedicate some of your time and attention away from your family in order to be productive at work. It's time to recap how you can create meaningful family connections while maintaining your identity, who you are, including as a working mom. The first step is life planning. Life planning is creating a map to your ultimate vision. By identifying all of your values and your priorities, it's a way to get family time onto that map so that as you're moving through your goals and towards your vision, you're keeping family time in your view at all times. That is not going to get dropped off as you are focusing, say, on your career or other priorities in your life. And while you're prioritizing family time, it's important to create intentional routines so that you can consistently show up for your family. And remember, it's not about quantity. It's about being fully present when you're together. The second step is to create sustainable family traditions that fit with your schedule, from daily rituals like bedtime stories to weekly activities that everyone looks forward to, and even annual traditions. The third step is to find creative ways to blend your work and family life together, rather than to always see them as competing priorities or things that you have to delineate. The fourth thing is to transform your daily tasks into teaching moments so that mundane chores and daily responsibilities can actually be opportunities for bonding with your children. And then the fifth thing is to really work on releasing that mom guilt and focus on the fact that you're a positive example of how you can be present for both your career and your family. Remember, you don't have to choose between being a great mom and pursuing your own goals. By implementing these strategies, you can actually create a harmonious rhythm that works for your whole family while staying true to yourself. So if you are constantly feeling pulled in different directions, where you're trying to balance work commitments while craving some meaningful connections with your family, or if you are trying to create these intentional routines that we're talking about so that you can bring your family closer together and you don't want to sacrifice your professional goals in the process, then I really think you should consider life planning. I do understand this delicate balance because I personally have lived it. I am a PhD scientist. I spend part of my time as a contract consultant, and I have this podcast, and I'm building an online business. So I understand what it means to have a very full life and to be working all the time. But I discovered that the key to having both a thriving career and having strong family bonds lies in strategic life planning. Through this powerful approach, I learned, first through experimentation and then more systematically, how to prioritize quality time with my family while being true to my professional aspirations. And I believe my Balanced Mom coaching program can help you too. So if you want to feel like yourself again by connecting with your authentic identity, and you want a clear roadmap to balance your family life with your personal growth, or to gain the boldness and clarity to make different choices that align with your vision, through my proven life planning framework, you're going to be able to complete a self-guided discovery assessment to uncover what truly matters to you, priorities like family time. You're going to then build a custom life plan that's going to essentially serve as your decision-making compass. And then you're going to learn all the strategic systems to implement these sustainable changes that are going to allow you to balance your work and your life or other priorities as well. I actually work with so many different goal-oriented moms. And because everyone has different amounts of availability and are often looking for different levels of support from me, I have taken all of their feedback. I have developed 3 different coaching paths for life planning for you, so you can pick the best one for you. So if you're interested in learning more about what life planning can do for you, or more about one of the 3 options that I have for building your life plan with you, then you can book a free exploratory call with me. There are no strings attached with this, but I really do hope that I hear from you. And either way, I hope that we can create a balanced, fulfilling life that you deserve. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe and tell other ambitious mamas about it. Who knows, you might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. Thank you for making my show a part of your day. I'll see you next week for another episode of the Solve for Mom podcast with Anoki Kapasi.